6 months of game development gone. In this video, I'm going to show you why I made this choice and how my game changed after the redesign. Long answer short, I didn't like the look of the game. Yup, that was basically it. For some context, I've been working on a rage game called A Ragdoll Rage Game for about 6 months now, where you climb this playful looking world as a ragdoll. A few weeks ago, I took some time off from working on the game, and it gave me a lot of time to reflect, and I was able to watch a lot of educational game development videos, which really shifted my view on my game. And I came to the realization that my game's style was not coherent at all. You know, like the game is supposed to be cartoony and playful, but there were like these rustic airplanes, floating objects everywhere, and even my pixelated face as the main character's face. Like, my game is not a pixel art game. I don't know why I did that. So yeah, the game style was not coherent at all, so I scrapped it. Well, not entirely, I just got rid of all the junk in the game. In my redesign, I wanted to make sure that I focus on maintaining the main theme of being cartoony and playful. So first I changed the main character's face from being my face to giving the character some googly eyes, which I think fits the theme pretty well. The eyes even charge up when you charge up the fling bar, and it also follows the movement of the character, which I think is a nice touch. But what I think took the longest to redesign was the map. In a Ragdoll Rage game, it's one continuous map compared to separate levels, so I wanted it to be a super polished map. Also, I wanted to make sure that everything was logically plausible in the game, like no floating objects and stuff like that. But what's tricky about making a vertical scrolling game is that once you layer, let's say, a tree, and then a house, and then some clouds, and then you get into space, you run out of stuff to logically make sense in the world very quickly. So I took some inspiration from similar games like a difficult game about climbing, where each section of the map is separated into its own biome and it has its own little island, which is technically floating. So I took that idea and I added it to my game, and now we have 5 different sections in my game. A cave, a grassy hills biome type of thing, a desert, a lava biome, and you end the game in space. And I made sure that everything was not floating and everything looked like it made sense in the world. I also did this neat trick where when you go into a different biome, the skybox changes and it just lerps to a new color set. So it makes it feel like you're entering a totally unique biome, which I think is nice. Even though the map is one continuous map and it won't change much, I wanted there to be a lot of secret paths, because you know, when you stumble upon a secret path, that feeling you get is amazing, and the point of them is that you collect these collectibles called badges. I also wanted to give the players a motif for why they are climbing this long journey, so I added a little intro clip that sets the stakes when you first launch the game. I get so many suggestions on my YouTube Shorts content, which I'm super grateful for, by the way. One suggestion I got was to make the limbs of the ragdoll break apart when you fall from a great height. I think this is a really funny idea, so I really wanted to add it. It was a little tricky to do that, but I managed to make it work by just temporarily replacing the limbs with disconnected limbs so that it looks like it broke off from the body of the ragdoll. I think this is one of the best suggestions I got, and it fits the playful theme of the game really well. So one of the reasons I'm redesigning most of the game is because I'm publishing the game on Steam. Go wishlist it, by the way. As some of you may know, I previously released the game on itch.io for free. So if I was going to publish it on Steam, it had to be different or it would just feel wrong. But now I can use all of Steam's features that comes with it, such as the workshop. Now when you use the level editor, you can publish your map to the workshop for others to play. And if you subscribe to other people's maps, it'll instantly pop up in your subscribed map section of your game. When I was messing around with the level editor as well, I realized I wanted to be able to duplicate items. So I added that feature because I didn't want to keep opening the menu every time I wanted to spawn multiple of the same item. I plan on working more on the level editor in the future before full release. Continuing with Steam's features, I also added a leaderboard system, so players can race to have the fastest times against each other, which I hope the speedrunning community will fall in love with. And I added Steam achievements, so basically anytime you get a badge, you'll also get an achievement for it. It was really fun learning about Steam's API, and it honestly wasn't too hard to learn how to do it, except for the workshop. That was pretty hard, actually. As you can see, the gameplay controls look like they're only WASD, but I've always got the question from my friends interested in the game asking, can you play it on controller? This question haunted me because I was not using Unity's input system at all, which would have made the process 10 times easier to implement. But recently I bit the bullet and I completely changed to Unity's input system. Now you can play it on controller, and I also made it dynamically change the keys that show on screen based on which controller you have plugged in, like a PS4, Xbox, or your keyboard. Keybind remapping for now will stick to keyboard users because, quite honestly, if you're changing the square and circle buttons around, you're not gonna get much better at the game. Even though the keys don't show up, you're still able to use the respective D-pad buttons to grab, and you can use any of the joysticks to aim, and any of these 4 triggers to fling the ragdoll. So you should be good. I also created a tutorial for first-time users that dynamically changes based on if you have a controller or keyboard plugged in. Sadly, there is content that had to get cut from the game. The biggest and really only one that got cut actually was Powerups. With the vision of the game, I didn't think it was fitting at all. Especially with leaderboards, giving people the ability to buy Powerups just felt too unfair. However, I kept the store and storekeeper as a little memory of this removal, and I turned it into the shop where you can get randomly unlockable hats. No, you don't need to purchase it with real money. You just get climbing points by simply playing the game, and you'll be able to unlock a random hat. The logo and title of the game went through a few iterations. I think the game was called Climb to the Top at one point, and then a Floppy Climbing Rager or something like that. But I didn't like any of those titles, so I went with A Ragdoll Rage Game, which I think sticks in your head a little bit better. I had no idea what I was doing when I was first creating the logo. I thought simple text would be good, just simply writing A Ragdoll Rage Game. But when I put it on Steam and took a couple days to reflect on it, I realized it didn't match the overall theme of the game. So I spent a few good hours redesigning the logo to make it more cartoony and playful. I felt like a genius when I realized that I can make the A limb of the character into the A text of A Ragdoll Rage Game. But yeah, I think this logo looks great. What do you think about it? Let me know in the comments. And that was the last of my notes for this devlog. I hope you enjoyed what I was working on these past 6 months, and I can't wait to share more with you in the future. I'm currently working on a free demo of the game and a bunch of other stuff. Every day the number of features I've added is like way too much, and if I went through every single one of those in this video, the video would be like 5 hours long or something. But anyways, please wishlist A Ragdoll Rage Game on Steam. I made the deal that if we hit 20,000 wishlists on Steam, I'll publish the game, so go make that happen.